All right, I think we are finally getting situated here, so I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the Public Safety Committee of the City Council. All members of the committee are present via Zoom, and Councillor Pat Davis will actually be joining us shortly. This is a remote or online meeting where all participants will be on video or audio conference. We are holding this meeting remotely to allow everyone to participate safely while we are conducting business under a public health emergency. We appreciate your patience. I apologize, Councillor Benton. I saw your hand raised at the last minute. Did you have anything to note?
No, that's okay. I could probably address it in the next item. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up on the agenda is OC 19, the CPOA Board Policies and Procedures. I move a receipt be noted. Thank you, Councillor Bassan, for that second. Councillors, any questions? I do believe we have someone here that wishes to speak on this as well. Mr. Eric Olivas.
Yes, I'm here.
Before we go to you, Mr. Olivas, I would like to have Mr. Harness kind of give an overview of this as well, and then we'll go to you.
Chair Sena, actually, Eric Olivas is a member of the Oversight Board. We also have Chair Dr. Cass, who's in attendance, and also Member Galloway. The large item changes for the policies and procedures as they're being reviewed for you were updates to the ethical standards by which the board will comport themselves, and then some new review standards for individual investigations and complaint access.
Thank you for that. Mr. Olivas, did you have anything to add?
Not really. I appreciate you, Madam Chair, and members of the committee for having this item on the agenda and allowing me the opportunity to speak. I just wanted to be present to answer any questions and make sure that we had an ongoing dialogue between the board and the City Council, and I think that these meetings can be a great opportunity to have that dialogue. In this instance, if there are any questions on this, there's three of us that are available to answer any questions. But I think my main interest in being here was just to keep an ongoing dialogue. We really appreciated Council President Davis coming to our meeting last week. I think that was a great gesture on the part of the council, and we wanted to make sure that we return the gesture, and we are looking to be present at these meetings in an ongoing manner, so that we have a good dialogue between the council and the board going forward. Otherwise, I stand for any questions that anyone may have.
Thank you for that, Mr. Olivas. Councillor Benton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I suppose this question is for both Mr. Harness and Mr. Olivas. What can you enlighten us on with regard to this question that's been raised, at least by some, as to the a procedure for an individual member of the board to approach and ask for specific investigatory work, as opposed to actions of the entire board?
Well, Chair Sena, Councillor Benton, it is my opinion that the board is an oversight board and should act as a body. So individual inquiries into one particular investigation, I think, should be a board action. However, to remedy this issue, the investigative materials are being made available to all the board members 10 business days prior to their final review decision. So that's how we've rectified that problem at this point.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Ernest, and while I've got you, just from the previous item, the manual pull from APD, what's the fix for that? That sounds like obviously an IT type thing, but what's the fix for that?
Chair Senna, member Councilor Benton. The cure is the new software management, case management system, which will be coming out in fiscal year 21. There's a transition from IA Pro to Benchmark, so that essentially right now our data analyst has to run SQL queries that don't reflect the data from the APD side as opposed to the CPOA side, and we're unable to verify the data on the APD side. So that's where the manual pull comes in, so that we can verify the data that we produce for the semi-annual reports. I was in a planning meeting for Benchmark last week. The CPOA and internal affairs portions of that case management software should be online at the end of the second quarter of next year.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Ernest.
Councilor Davis. Councilor Davis, you're still muted. There we go.
We'll try that again. Sorry. I'm plugging in from somewhere new today, so my apologies. It's on my end. I just wanted to say, I see members Galloway and Dr. Cass, the chair, some others are with us, and I just want to echo member all of us and say, and I encourage other councilors to do it. At the invite of the board, I appeared last week and just got to see how their progress is going, and I think it was very enlightening for all of us. I think we all share the board's frustration that the process to appoint members to fill vacancies is let me just say this, it takes too long. It's a lengthy process. We have a long list of people who have applied, and that takes a lot of staff time from our staff just to go through that. More than 70 people, as I recall, applied last year when we didn't have any vacancies. And then, of course, that list has to be revisited each time there might be a vacancy with new background checks and new interviews. And quite frankly, it's hard to get interviews for potential candidates in front of counselors and in front of in front of board members. And so I want to encourage the council, just as a conversation item for the moment, to think about with our friends at the CPOA how we might revisit the CPOA ordinance, and particularly how we appoint members. I think the answer is it's not working. I think there have been a number of attempts to try to figure out how to find the right balance of members. But quite frankly, we have some vacancies, and we don't have enough members to meet the, say, geographic diversity that's required, for example. And it's honestly no one's job to go out and actively recruit and find the right number of people in the Northwest Quadrant and the Northeast Quadrant in time to do that and look at those vacancies. So I just want to say thank you to the members of the board who participated in that conversation. Just for members of the council, I want to put a marker there. And for those of you who are interested in this, hope you'll join me hopefully over the break and early next year for us to revisit this so that we can ensure that we have a full board with all the tools they need. And I think the new, Madam Chair, if I may, just to finish, and I'll be quiet, I think the new revelations from the new monitors report and the changes at APD on how force review have changed in the last year or so highlight that we ought to not just have CPOA on the table and how we make that more robust, but I think the council ought to step in at this point, be more deliberate, more involved, and take a real look at the whole force review process from soup to nuts, and see if it is time for us to revisit this whole process. Quite frankly, I think it's too complicated. There can be as many as 20 different steps just on the APD side alone. And then asking Director Harness and his team to go back and look at all of those steps after they've had all those other eyes on them and do a whole nother review is a lot of work, quite frankly. And as we see, every time there's a new step, there's a new opportunity to miss something. So I'm quite frankly not satisfied with the way it works. I want the CPOA board to know that we take that seriously. And for those of you on the council who are interested, I hope you'll join me in helping us figure out a better strategy to do this for 2021. So thank you for letting me give a speech, Madam Chair. I'll go back to my quiet corner over here. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Davis. Councillor Benton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thanks, Councillor Davis, for that, pointing that out. With regard to the past applicants, I was always under the impression that we were kind of keeping a bench. In other words, the top prospects who didn't make it last time, that we would be looking instead of reinventing the process every time. Am I wrong about that? I'm asking staff or Mr. Ernest or anybody. I thought we were, once we've gone through 80 applicants and let's say we have 10 people who are perfectly qualified, would those people be in line for the next round of nominations to the agency?
Madam Chair, I can answer that question if you like. Thank you. Councillors, it is true we do kind of keep a log of potential candidates from our previous scoring. Of course, we can't control what kind of vacancy we need to fill if that requires a more diverse appointment. Sometimes the people that are in line don't exactly match that. We try and do our best to allocate that evenly through the city. The other part of it is we do have them in line. However, they haven't been vetted yet in front of councillors or members of the CPOA board. So that also takes a little time to coordinate.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Councillors, any more questions? Or I also want to give an opportunity for the other CPOA members if they choose to give a comment. All right. Ms. Montoya, can you do the roll call vote?
Sure. Councillor Bassan?
Yes.
Councillor Benton?
Yes.
Councillor Davis?
Yes.
Councillor Jones?
Yes.
Councillor Senna?
Yes.
And that passes on a 5-0 vote.